Question number 5, Jacinda Ardern.
Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Social Development. How many children will be lifted out of poverty as a result of Budget 2012?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Speaker, Budget 2012 will build a stronger economy which will drive employment growth, leading to strong and resilient families. As a consequence, children will be better off, and that is what Budget 25 is all about. There is not a 2012 was about. There is not an official measure of poverty, so as such you can't give a number.
Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary to the Minister. Does she accept the Children's Commissioner's estimate that failure to invest in the early years of a child can come at a cost of $1 million to taxpayers per child? And if so, how much did the government invest in children in this budget to save the future cost of up to 270,000 children in poverty?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, I certainly dispute the numbers that the member uses, but the Children's Commissioner's $1 million amount for individual children, I think, depends on their circumstances, so I certainly wouldn't say, and of course poverty is relative, and also a child can move in and out of poverty throughout their lives as adults can as well. So there are certainly some caveats around those kinds of predictions.
Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary. What appropriations in vote social development, or in the budget generally, addresses the issue flagged by the briefing to incoming ministers by MSD, which stated, quote, around 2 in 5 poor children were from households where at least one adult was in full-time employment?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, I think what the member raises is also quite interesting, is what we are investing in this budget for those children whom we see as important. What we saw certainly is an increase when you look at health, so around rheumatic fever, more money going in there, and those under 6-year-olds and their access to health and to the GP and for after hours as well. Certainly what you're also seeing is a real investment in those intensive home visits at the early years, and that is going to make a significant difference. So I would say, Mr. Speaker, that this budget certainly has raised a lot of issues. What we are doing, though, is targeting it to those children that need it most, instead of the kind of scattergun approach that we saw under Labor.
Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary to the Minister. Does she accept that according to the UNICEF scorecard on child poverty released today, in which New Zealand was found to spend 50% of the OECD average on a child's early years, amongst other countries who have all experienced the same recession, that, quote, failure to protect children from poverty is one of the most costly mistakes a society can make?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, I do think that there is certainly money that should be invested in those early years, and this government is certainly investing more than the previous Labor government were in their years. So we are investing more in those children than actually ever has been before, and it is making a significant difference. That goes across health, across education, across certainly MSD within child, youth and family, and work and income. But Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt about it that all evidence presents that those that are in work have their children better off, and I think that welfare reforms make a real difference to that.
Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary to the Minister. If the Children's Commissioner's expert group on child poverty recommends targets to eradicate child poverty when they report later this year, will she implement such targets? If not, why not?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, that's hypothetical. I'm not going to preempt what that report comes out with, and as such make a judgment on it.
Question number 6, Alfred Nauru.
Mr. Speaker,